Okay, we are going to start working on solving two-step inequalities. We've been practicing with one step. Two-step is just doing what we've done before, remembering the rules for how you do solve inequalities, which only applies the one major change. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to reverse the sign. Guaranteed, if that's where we're going to mess up, that's where we're going to mess up. So solving two-step inequalities, you can solve two-step inequalities in the same way that you solve two-step equations. Just like it says here, the goal is to isolate the variable on one side. So if you look at these examples that they have, 6m plus 7 is less than negative 5. The first thing that we do is subtract that 7 from both sides. We're using that inverse operation, okay? And we're left with the 6m is less than negative 12. Now, in order to isolate the variable the rest of the way, you have to divide both sides by 6. So 6n divided by 6, you're left with m. Negative 12 divided by 6, you're left with negative 2. So m is less than negative 2. They're going to show you on this side, I can already tell it's got a negative. And that negative is attached to the variable. So therefore, I'm probably going to have to reverse the sign. So with this one, the first thing that you're going to do is move the 8 to the other side. So instead of adding 8, the inverse is the opposite of 8, subtracting 8, and you're left with, this is negative x over 3, and they flipped it. So they're not doing the best way of describing this. In my samples, I'll show you how we are used to doing it. This line right here is too many steps at one time. So don't get overwhelmed by their example. Make sure that you understand my examples. All right, so let's do some examples. This first one, our goal, remember, is to isolate the 3w. So I need to move the 4, the negative 4, by adding 4. So I use that inverse property. So I'm adding 4 to the 17, which is 21, is less than or equal to, and the only thing left is 3w. Okay? Now this means divide, this means multiply. So in order to move that over, I've got to divide by 3. It's not divide by negative 3, so I don't have to flip anything. So your answer, 21 divided by 3 is 7. And you're left with w on this side. So it's the same as our equations. This one over here, I'm going to move the negative 8 by adding 8 to both sides. So this side is left with y divided by negative 2 is less than negative 6 plus 8. So I'm subtracting their different signs. It's 2. And the 8 is further from 0, so it's a positive 2. Make sure you think all those steps through. Now, this one is division. That's y divided by 2. So I'm going to move this negative 2 by multiplying by negative 2. Since I multiplied by negative 2, say that's a multiply, I have to flip the side. I have to reverse that side. This side is left with y. This side is 2 times negative 2, which becomes negative 4. So our final answer is right there. So as you can tell, we're doing the same steps that we would do for solving equations. I'm going to move the minus 10 by adding 10 to both sides. You're left with negative 2r on this side is greater than 6 plus 10 is 16. Now to move this negative 2, I'm going to divide by negative 2. Now notice it's dividing by negative 2, so I have to reverse the sign. You get r is less than 16 divided by negative 2 is 8. I have a positive and a negative, so my answer is negative 8. These are just the same, except you have to flip the sign. All right, let's go to the next problem. right, so this one is a word problem. We're going to think about it for a second. You borrow $150 from a friend. So that to me says -50 to help pay for a new skateboard. You pay your friend back $15 per week. Okay, so that would mean I'm plus 15. Write and solve an inequality to find when you will owe your friend less than W or less than 30. So we need to know how many weeks. So borrowing 150, so we're negative 150, and you are paying them back $15 a week. So, okay. Oh no, I erased too much. Sorry. So let's think about this logically. This person is paying $150 back at $15 a week. So after week 1, notice I'm subtracting. I have 135. So I'm doing this off to the side so that I think about what I'm doing. The answer that they want is, when is this number less than 30? Okay, so less than 30 would mean it needs to point this way, and the 30 goes there. Okay, so I take the original debt, and I'm going to subtract 15 for every week that they get paid. Now we have to solve this. In order to solve this, we need to move the 150 over by subtracting 150. 30 minus 150, they are different, so I'm subtracting them. I get 120, and it'll be negative, and negative 15W. Now I have to move this over by dividing by negative 15. Since I divided by negative 15, that sign flips. You have W left on this side. And then 120 divided by 15. Let me double check. Okay, 120 divided by 15. Negative 120 divided by negative 15 is a positive 8. So in 8 weeks is our answer, in more than 8 weeks. So there's the answer to that one. There's going to be an activity that I want you guys to practice to show me if you understand this or not. But by this time, we should be getting close to mastery. So if you do not have this, then you need to spend a little extra time going back and looking at the practice problems, going back and looking at the other videos that have been created, because we're having a test up soon.